hey gang, how you doing? Jonathan here for Tailhunter Sportfishing, and it's time once again for the Mexican Minute, La Paz Video Fishing Report. And not coming to you from La Paz, Baja, Mexico, but this is going to cover all of the fishing action for our Tailhunter Sportfishing fleet back in La Paz, and this is going to cover the dates of the 9th of April through the 16th of April, 2023. Wherever you are, hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for checking in. Thanks for spending time with us, and please do us a big favor. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Well, as I mentioned, I'm not in La Paz at the moment. As a matter of fact, we're finishing up here. We are in Indianapolis, Indiana. Now, I know that sounds like that's a long way from the ocean. It's definitely a long way from La Paz, but we're here finishing up at the NRA convention, the National Rifle Association convention here in Indianapolis. And hey, I got to tell you, if you've never been to Indianapolis, what a beautiful city. Totally enamored with the place, the folks, the restaurants. What an incredible city. We can't wait to come back and hopefully not have to work. We are having a great time here. We're just finishing up, but that also means after 4 months on the road, crisscrossing the United States, doing all of these shows, saying hi to everyone, getting reservations to come down to La Paz, shaking hands, hugs, high fives, everything. Headed back to La Paz. So the next time you see me, I'm going to be back home in La Paz. Let's get this fishing season started because the winds are diminishing. Great news. We've had the roughest, windiest winter that I can remember in the 30 years we've been in La Paz. Just like up in the United States for a lot of areas, an incredibly crazy winter. It's been like that in La Paz. Now, normally, if you've watched my fishing reports all these weeks, all these months, you know that November to April is going to be our off season because it's usually very, very windy. More often than not, very often as a matter of fact, they shut down everything. Can't even get out on the waters. Well, this past winter, it's been the roughest winter that any of us can remember. Lots of waves, lots of wind. They've had to shut down the port very often. Can't even get out. So this past week, gotta tell you, things diminished a little bit. Now, we're not completely done with the winds. Looking at the extended forecast, we're still gonna see some winds coming up. But with each passing week, historically speaking, it cuts back a little bit. As we get closer to summer, and hopefully we'll kick in full blast in just a couple of weeks. But this past week, it was abated, diminished. All my words are mixed up this morning. It's very, very early here in Indianapolis, but the winds cut back enough so we could get some folks out on the water. Now, let me post up a couple of things. For the first time this year, we did send out some boats with our Tailhunter La Paz fleet, straight out of La Paz, straight north out of the bay, fishing around Espiritu Santo Island, where there's been a really, really nice jag of yellowtail happening. But the boats we sent out, now these are folks who knew that it might be windy, have been with us before, wanted to take a chance. One of the days they got blown off the water. The winds came from the north and just not able to fish. The next time we sent some boats out, the waters calmed down, but I think the waters were still turned over. There were not only our boats out there from our Tailhunter fleet, but also boats from other fleets as well. Nothing happening. The bite just was not happening. The fish got lockjawed, weren't ready to chew, and pretty much it was just some stray bonita biting, and that was it. The better bite continues to be with our Tailhunter Las Arenas fleet, pushing out off the beach off Muertos Bay. A nice mix of fish. Now, one little caveat. I've been down in La Paz for about 30 years. There were some of the days in those early years where I was on the water 200, 300, more than 300 days a year. In all that time, I've only seen fog maybe twice. Well, this week there was actually fog on the beach. Now, not just clouds. I'm talking about, horror movie kind of clingy, dense fog where you can't see anything. It was like that. Crazy weather, once again, in Baja, in La Paz, fog on the beach. I remember one time we were out, we got over to the islands. I was guiding that day, and the fog got so thick, we could not even see back to shore, and we actually had to use, this was before GPS and other things. This was 30 years ago. It was so thick that we had to actually look at the little waves coming through to see which way the direction of the waves were heading so we could get back to shore. The fog was that thick, and we did have a little bit of that this week. But that being said, still seeing temperatures in the low 80s, so we're getting closer to summer, and there was a nice mix of fish. There was some yellowtail still biting. No tuna to speak of it. Not to say that there aren't tuna there, but with the yellowtail so predominant and easier to catch and closer to shore, I think the focus has been on catching the yellowtail. So some nice 15 to 25 pound yellowtail still biting. They're going to stick around until the waters start getting too warm for them. Also a couple Dorado around, which does mean the waters are getting warmer, or there's some spots of warmer water very close to shore. Within 100 yards of the beach, some Dorado have shown up. Also Pargo, Cabrilla, Sierra, Jack Crevalle. Got our first roosterfish, starting to see some smaller roosterfish moving in. None of the big hogs yet, but fingers crossed, once the bigger baits move in, I think we're going to see our roosterfish that we're known for. And, those are usually 50 to 100-pound fish, if not larger. No billfish to speak of yet. Just a nice variety of inshore stuff happening. Everybody caught some fish that wanted to catch fish with our Las Arenas fleet. I think we're still going to have to hold off on fishing with our La Paz fleet until these winds completely cut down and the waters settle down. Anyway, that's going to be a quick wrap up on what's going on. As you may have noticed, after a whole month, I actually have my voice back. For the last month, way back at the Orange County show in Costa Mesa, I lost my voice the first day. Haven't had a voice for a whole month. Tried doing shows for 4 or 5 days, being in a booth for 10 hours, trying to talk with no voice. So this is really the first time I've had any kind of a voice in over a month. Happy to have it back. Happy to get back to La Paz in just a couple of days, and we're going to get this fishing season started. In the meantime, listen, thanks a lot for checking in. God bless. Hope you're doing well. Also, hey everybody, thank you so much for all of the birthday wishes, not only for me, but also for Jill this past week. We're celebrating her birthday for the whole week. Thank you everyone for sending in the good wishes and the blessings. Love you all. And also, listen, in the last 4 months, we've been up, back and forth, and across the United States doing these shows. Thank you for all the hospitality. Thank you for all the high fives, the hugs, visiting us at the shows. We've made a great career for 30 years in Mexico, but still nothing better than being in the United States. Americans, #1, you guys rock. We're looking forward to having you all come down to visit us. God bless. We'll check you next week. I'm Jonathan for the Mexican Minute.